Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ.
Pierce for three. It's good. Tatum puts up a three.
Welcome to the Celtics Rewind. I'm JP.
And I am Nat The GM. What's up, y'all?
Hey. This is episode 19 of the Celtics Rewind, talking all things Boston Celtics. The regular season has ended for the Boston Celtics. I'm JP, the franchise, your host. I got my co-host back. Back right here. Nat The GM. Nat, what's up?
What's going on? It's good to be back, man.
Oh, yes, it's great to be back, though. I was still suffering from that Hawks loss and stuff, but I'm better now. I'm better now. I had to eat my words a little bit of what I said regarding about that revenge, and Deontay Murray just kind of proved me wrong and stuff like that. But hey, we are still number one in the Eastern Conference. We are still the best team in the NBA at 64-18. We're just going to go over just a little bit of the second half of the season for the Boston Celtics, as they had a really great first half. And then the second half was kind of pretty good. Like, they had their moments where they were like the best team. And then they had their moments where they just kind of it just looked like they just wasn't playing, or like some people were out, or they're just trying different stuff out. So looking at the second half of the season, what's your evaluation? What you thought about the second season of how the Celtics play?
The second half of the season, I thought that Joe was playing with lineups. Honestly, I saw a lot of trying to see if you can put Tillman out there. To see which lineup he goes with the best. I don't think their foot was on the gas as much, because they had made such a big lead on the league that they were just like, let me try some stuff, preserve my body, not go too crazy. So while everybody else was fighting for that very last game for seeding, the 82nd game, Boston was just like, we're just going to take it easy, let the bench play and figure some things out. We got to see Peyton Pritchard actually step up huge the second half of the season. There are some big pluses to the second half of the season. I think it's less about the starters, more about the bench, where there's some trust there. So I'm actually good with the second half of the season. It was solid.
Yeah, I didn't really take those losses really seriously. Like, when we lost to the Hawks twice and then losing to, some teams that we should have beat and stuff. I didn't really take it serious. Like, every non-Boston Celtic fan was just taking like, oh, Boston, I got concerns for them for the playoffs. Yeah, there might be a little bit of concerns, but at the same time, I didn't really take it seriously, because a loss is a loss, and sometimes you have to lose just so that you be better in the next game and everything. Yeah. And like you said, they was just toying around with different lineups. I definitely have a lot more trust in the bench, especially Peyton Pritchard leading the charge too as well. Congratulations to Quetta of getting the last roster spot, where we kind of thought we was going to see maybe like they're going to get like another player, but he got the last roster spot, and well deserved for him. And he did perform really well in that last game, where he had like 19 points. I think he had like 6 or 7 blocks. He had rebounds. So congratulations to Quetta for getting that last roster spot. So, but so in terms of the whole thing that's going on right now, like a couple of people was talking about, is Joe Mazzulla, possibly thinking about being coach of the year, but it went to the OKC coach. And, some Boston fans was kind of just a little like, well, Joe Mazzulla coached the best team in the NBA, or he coached a super team. But at the end of the day, we might have like one person possibly making all NBA, and maybe like one person making all defensive team. So looking at the coach of the year. You think Joe Mazzulla should have got a little love to be coach of the year, or did they did it right with having the OKC coach being the coach of the year?
They got it right. OKC's coach is the coach of the year. I mean, the team last year was number 10, and they lost a play-in game or something like that. And now this year they're number 1. You absolutely don't get that award to anyone else. When it comes to Boston, you're not going to get a lot of these regular season awards because, we know the stigma and we know what they say. You should be here. You should do this. You should do that. So I don't feel any way about it. As long as, you guys win, coach of the year, we want to win championships. So it's like, I don't care about that, but it was well deserved and well earned for the OKC's head coach, though.
Oh yeah, for sure, because he took his team to the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, so well deserved for that. So I didn't really have a problem with that, but as long as Joe Mazzulla was in the top 3, probably number 2, I would have been fine with that because the OKC coach had an unbelievable year too as well. But at least we know who's going to run away with the executive of the year in Brad Stevens with the changes and the trades and the signings he made. So at least we'll be a little bit happy for that one. But in terms of coming into the playoffs as the number 1 seed, possibly you're going to see either the Miami Heat being the 8th seed, or possibly it could be the Philadelphia 76ers. I think I kind of predicted yesterday that the Miami Heat was probably going to win against the 76ers to get the 7th seed, and that Philly would be either Chicago or the Hawks to get that 8th seed. So possibly we could see Philadelphia and the Boston Celtics first round matchup. And I know you said on your tweet that you want to see the Miami Heat as the 8th seed so that we can win it back in the playoffs for the first round. So in terms of that, like how many games you going to give the Boston Celtics against the Miami Heat?
Well, it's more so how many games like I'm going to give Miami, and I give them 1. They'll win 1 in the series, and we'll probably win it in 5. Maybe 6, but because some unfavorable calls, the foul baiting that Jimmy Butler does. So I could say maybe 6, but I really truly believe that they get it done this time. With this team, they've had their number all year. If you want to be honest, there was nothing that Miami could do that Boston couldn't counter or run away with. When it comes to them matching up this year, KP makes all the difference. The zone that they tried to run last year, it's not going to work this year. So it's like I call KP the zone killer because he just helped us tremendously this year with that. So when it comes to that series, I say Miami because of, we talk a lot of trash with the both fan bases and everything. And quite frankly, I'll always say they annoy the mess out of me, out of any franchise that they annoy me the most. I wouldn't mind Philly, but we can't scoff at the fact that Chicago could win or Atlanta could get that 8th seed. And I think that Chicago actually has the best chance of getting that 8th seed because they've actually been playing the best out of all 4 teams. So don't sleep on Chicago. I'm watching them. I think it's hard to believe that Miami or Philly might not be in the playoffs, but it's what happens. You gotta, your best player gets injured. You guys lose a string of games, and then your team has just been, kind of just meddling, all season, and people have not rounded out and shaped into form, and guys have been out. People look like they're not buying in. The offense isn't clicking, and that's why Miami's in the situation again that they're in. So Chicago looks to me the most together. And they could actually get that 8th seed. I think that would be a shocker, but they could. So it's a possibility.
Yeah, like you said, they've been playing really good basketball without Zach LaVine and Kobe
Mhm.
White getting consideration for most improved player. He's probably going to be a runner up to me behind Jalen Williams of OKC. But I wouldn't be
Really?
mad. I got Jalen Williams.
Really?
I got Jalen Williams winning most improved because, I mean, I can't help with that best record in the Western Conference. I know Shea Gilgeous-Alexander makes that team go, but that second best player, people be sleeping on Jalen Williams because he reminds me so much of like a young Kawhi Leonard, just like his movement and his just basketball skills. It just reminds me so much of Kawhi. So I think he's gonna get most improved, but I won't be mad because I have Kobe White as my runner-up. If he does win, I wouldn't be mad, and it would be well deserved for him to get it.
I have Kobe White. I thought, and I think that a lot of us fans of basketball thought Jalen Williams was going to be a starter and a player. None of us thought that Kobe White was going to be more than a bench player. And he's turned himself into a starting point guard. That's a guy that you can't just leave on the bench. The amount of work that he has put in, it's so obvious. And there's some players that you say, oh, they worked on this and worked on that, and you're like, I got to see it in a few games. We saw it every game with Kobe White. He went from 9 points averaging last year to, I believe, 20. That he doubled his points, and if you think about it, I forgot that Zach LaVine plays for Chicago. If you really want to be honest, I don't even remember. I'm thinking this guy he got traded, he plays for another team, but I don't even remember Zach LaVine in Chicago because Kobe White fits so much better. Kobe White, I really love Kobe White. He's so
It's all
fun to
good.
watch. I love his attitude.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So I really hope he gets that award. So if you're out there, you hear me, I'm rooting for you, man. You make watching the Chicago Bulls that much more fun.
Like I said, I wouldn't be mad if he does win that award. I wouldn't be mad because he had a incredible year and stuff. And if they was like in a much higher, if they was in a higher seed than they are now, I think I would have had Kobe White as my number one like candidate for most improved, over Jalen Williams and Kuminga and so forth. But since they're in the ninth seed, I have him as a runner up. But like I said, I wouldn't be mad if he ends up winning most improved. I wouldn't be mad at all because he definitely deserves it. So it's just a lot of people in consideration for that most improved award.
Yeah.
So, but your expectations of the Celtics in the playoffs, because I expect them to make the finals. I know like the New York Knicks, all the Knicks fans is like, we want to see a fully healthy Celtics squad going against a fully healthy Knicks team. And I totally understand that they're going to be talking about that last game they faced us and they whoop us pretty badly. But I mean, to their credit, they came out, they were more hungry because they needed to get to the second or third seed while we was just kind of chilling at the beach, and we still had the number one seed. We didn't really play that hard, against them, but we were probably going to end up seeing them in that Eastern Conference Finals for that matchup, though. So I'll be looking forward to that. But my expectation for the Celtics is to go to the NBA Finals and be facing Denver, where I think the Celtics could probably pull it away in 7 games. What you think?
I hate saying it like this. I really do. This is the best path, I'll say, for Boston, because getting past the first round with whomever you play, we expect them to win. They're just too good, and they've made too many improvements this year. When you look at that second round, you're going to play an Orlando team or a Cavs team, and they're not going to beat you. Like, their season will stop one of those teams in the second round. We know this, and it's no disrespect. Too many question marks on both teams, and one team is very young. wonderful that you made it. I'm a big Paulo fan. I think that he deserves more respect and love. I think he's fantastic. And he's fun to watch too. But they're young and they got a lot of things to figure out, but they are going to continue to get better, but Boston is just ready right now, and Cleveland is just too much of the unknown. Donovan Mitchell's working himself back. Him and Garland don't play the best together. I don't think Mobley it's fully clicked with him yet. I think defensively and he's, pretty good offensively. Sometimes he's on the money. Jared Allen is great. I love watching Jared Allen. I just think he's fantastic. I just think that team needs time and they need to make some choices. They change some things up, make some trades. And I think that will happen. So they're not going to beat Boston either. Boston has played both of those teams very well this year. Orlando did not have that same success. Boston, got them right back. Usually that's their kryptonite. So that third round is going to be New York or Miami / Philly / Chicago, whomever. But you're gonna assume it's New York. That's a fantastic matchup for Boston. As good as Jalen Brunson is, Boston has everything they need to get that done in 5 or 6, because I think that they need Julius Randle, and I think that Knicks fans will understand how valuable Julius Randle is to a playoff matchup, in the playoffs and stuff. So you got him get you 20 and 10 on a bad day and 30 and 13 on a good one, So you don't just kind of scoff at that. And if Brunson's gonna score 40 points, average 40 points for a series, that's a hard task to ask a guard like that. So I assume that Boston they're going to go to the finals. I see the path. I think it's a great path for them. Also the second round, they're going to have to figure out if Giannis is going to play, if he miraculously plays in that, first round and Indiana doesn't go forward. We don't know. There's too many question marks with a lot of teams, but there's no question marks for Boston. Boston, we know who they are. When it comes to the finals, playing Denver, I'm happy they lost both of those games. I think I've said this before when it happened. Very happy they lost both of these games because you see exactly what they're going to do, to you. And you should be watching film and you should be making adjustments, as far as I'm not sure if KP should be the starting 5 in that series. I think he should be the starting 4. And I think that you need to make a decision to sit Derek White on the bench, and bring in Al Horford. I think that might be the answer right there, because Al does not have to offensively put out as much as KP, but defensively, give him a job. And that job is Joker. That job is watching where Joker is looking. He's thinking what he wants to do. That is your job. You're stuck to him like glue. And then let everybody else do what they do. I think if that happens, I think Boston can get that done in 7 games.
No, that's a great point. The thing I said the other day was that I would let Jokic score and shut down the other people, shut down Jamal Murray, shut down KCP, shut down Michael Porter Jr., shut down Aaron Gordon, because I'm taking what Miami did last year in the game that they won against the Nuggets, where they shut everybody else down and they let Jokic score 30, 40 points, however points he wants and stuff, but still make it tough for Jokic to score though. But if you shut down the others, he don't really know, because his passing ability and making people better just with him, it makes the Denver team so tough to beat because of him being on the floor. So that's another way that's another way Boston can do. They got so many different options that they could do to beat Denver, and hopefully they will. But before they get to the finals, I know you said that, there's no question marks around Boston. I got a few concerns about Boston. One, I would say I'm concerned about the mental toughness, like in terms of going into a game, because sometimes they will play like they're the best team. They'll play both offense and defense when they're motivated. Like you can't stop them when they're dominating, and they are in that same mindset. But then I've seen some games where they just, like you said, they have a lead, and then they just let the foot off the gas and let that team come back, and then they kind of not recover from what they were. That's a concern for me. Number two, execution. Now they're better executing this year than they were the previous couple of years with Marcus Smart on the team, but there's still some question marks I see in terms of the execution, especially in late game situations where things come down. I see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown do isolation and try to dribble out the clock and stuff, and it's not going to work with them dribbling out the clock and all. Like we got to facilitate, you got to pass it around, play like you in the system, move the ball around. Don't really try to isolate and try to take too many jumpers that make it tough and all that. Now they can make the tough shot, but at the same time, if it's a tough shot, don't really take it. Take an easier type of shot. Take an open shot. So that's another concern for me. And then the whole thing about shooting too many threes, like if we shoot the ball well from three, we dominate teams. We'll, wipe them out by 20, 30 points easily. But then sometimes when we rely so much on that 3-point shot, it's like, I don't know, it's just like a kryptonite. If we're not making it, it's like, oh, we got to go ahead and keep shooting the three until we make it. And then some games we might survive by shooting poorly from three, but at the same time, it's not going to be good. We got under great enough offense where we could do any type of offense. We can shoot the three. We can go into the post up, or we can, do the pick and roll, or go into the paint, feed it to KP for a mismatch. If they could just find better adjustment offensively, if they're not hitting the threes, I wouldn't have that much of a concern, but that concern is that you just shoot too many threes. Do you have like any type of concerns though? I know you say you don't have no question marks, but is there just a little concern with Boston, especially like in, playoff matchups, against like some teams?
Okay, so when it comes to like certain games that they've lost, we gotta like remember that they're in the teens with the losses. A lot of those are close games, which could go either way. Some of those they blew some leads, and then some they just like they sat some guys or they just didn't have it. But for 18 games, that's not bad considering what could be the reason that they lost, if some of those didn't happen, they'd be a 70-win team instead of 64. So, and they're the only team that's won 60 plus games. That means that something's been clicking more than it was the previous years. And you're gonna win a lot of games, you're gonna lose some too. You win some, you lose some. I'm not concerned about the threes because they shoot the most, they make the most. That makes sense. If you're shooting the most, but then you're like maybe fifth or sixth, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, that means you're shooting a lot, you're missing a lot, but you're still fifth. But it's the numbers add up. They shoot a lot, but then they make the most. So I'm good with that. And also, I think that they take pretty good 3-point shots. I think the only issue that I have, there's two people in the starting lineup I hate when they shoot threes, and that's Kristaps Porzingis and that's Jason Tatum. Those two guys need to stop shooting threes. Everyone else have a field day with it. Though KP is too good to keep him on, out there on the perimeter shooting threes. I think it's ridiculous and I think it's bad coaching. There shouldn't be top of the key post ups with KP. That guy is 7'3". As soon as he gets in the paint, I think he's like 70-something% in the paint. You are missing points Like a lot of free money, a lot of free points when you get him anywhere else, as opposed to just right around that basket, because he's usually bigger than a lot of people, or he's crafty enough where he can, he can create separation and get his shot off. Why are you having him at the top of the key posting up or shooting threes? You're bailing out the defense. Jason Tatum, you are usually bigger than the guy that's defending you. Why are you shooting 8 to 10 threes, in the playoffs like that, or in these games? Stop. Get your big butt in that painted area, like 0 to 20 feet, 0 to 20 feet, 0 to 15 feet. That's operate in that space, post up. If he literally does 4 less threes, 4 more post ups, this is a different team. So that's what I want to see. That's my main concern. I also have to wait, just like everybody else, because some of this stuff that people are commenting on is from the previous team with Marcus Smart and Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon. They're not here anymore. So now you have a much better, general in controlling the game in Drew Holiday, much more poised and looking for, making sure that he creates space and creates a shot for someone else as opposed to himself. Then you have Kristaps Porzingis, who is so much better than Robert Williams, and he's actually a really good defender, and he's an offensive threat. He can literally get you 20 and 10, 20 and 8 or whatever. He can get you 20, so I can't literally say we know what they're going to do, because that was an old team. I can't be like everybody else and say that. So we got to wait to see what these guys have and if they've learned. I will say that because Joe has been playing with the lineups, I do think that we're going to see a difference in rotations and how he calls the games. Because you also have to remember, Kornet has played a ton of minutes this year. Tillman, when he got here and got acclimated, he's playing a lot of minutes. Horford, obviously the first big off the bench. And then Keta, he's coming off the bench. That's a lot of bigs, man. And there are a lot of good bigs in this league that they will see. And if I can assume, and I can assume correctly, we are going to be able to keep people out of foul trouble, because we are going to have somebody else come in and do that tic-tac stuff. Hey, you take the 3 fouls, big guy, and save KP. And let's save Horford. Keta, you come in and you take, a couple fouls, So I'm actually excited. I want to see what Joe has learned and what they have learned. So I do think that they are mentally tough. You can't not be mentally tough with the stuff that they've been through the past few years. Getting to the finals, losing in that fashion. Then the next year you're this close and it just doesn't click with all the drama going on. And now you're right back at it. So I'm anxious to see what they have, but I think that they've shown us that they're tough, because they were focused.
No, that was a great take, and hopefully, they can fix those issues in the playoffs so that they can get that 18th banner hang up right there at the TD Garden. Quick notes, congratulations. It's time, right? Because it's been since 2008 since we seen a championship, and I want to get that championship so bad. So hopefully we'll see banner number 18. Quick notes, congratulations to Drew Holiday extending his contract with the Boston Celtics, $135 million, 4 years, well deserved. Derrick White might possibly get $160 million for 4 years this summer. So well deserved for that one. Congratulations to. Oh yeah, for sure. You gotta keep it. You might have to get rid of some pieces, after this, but you get your key pieces to happy and stay, so that you still be a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA too as well. Congratulations to Drew Holiday and Jason Tatum of the 12-man roster for the USA Olympics in Paris. Well deserved as well. Just some quick hitters right here. We're gonna go ahead and get into the regular season predictions. So in terms of, we'll start off with the big jumbo award that everybody wants to talk about in the NBA is the MVP. So
Mm-hmm.
I have, it's tough. I will
Yeah.
say that it is really tough. I am going to go with Jokic winning the
Mm-hmm.
MVP. So Nat, who you have winning the MVP?
I think they're gonna give it to Jokic. I saw how the voting went. But I will say that I think Shea deserves it. I think
Yeah.
that for too long, the MVP is going to the person with the better stats and not the better player on a team that he's the most valuable, to that team. Um, how do you go from 10 to 1 with relatively the same players, and they're all young, you know, uh, he's been a great scorer, a really good defender this year. He's led that team, but he doesn't get triple doubles. He doesn't score like, Nikola Jokic, the big man. And I think that's unfair. So I think this award is becoming unfair a little bit because it's a stats award. 1 minute it was about the eye test and what we see that a player is given a team. The next minute it's about what he's got stats, and the triple doubles are great. So I understand, that Nikola Jokic is phenomenal. He's the best player in my opinion, in the league. But when you say most valuable, they like OKC goes from one without with him, and then without him they could be in the Spurs. They could be the Spurs. So with their record. So I just thought that was interesting. But I do think that they're going to give it to Nikola Jokic, but I think it's unfair and they need to look at how they're giving out this award.
I totally understand. It's like a double standard with the MVP award, like you said, it could be stats or it could be team success. So we'll see what they're going to do this season. Obviously, a rookie of the year is obviously going
It's
to
Wemby.
be is Wemby. I'm sorry, Chet Holmgren and Brandon Miller. It's obviously Wemby. Incredible season. So rookie year goes to them. Defensive player of the year. So I say Rudy Gobert from the Timberwolves just because he just had an incredible season and his fingerprints is on those Timberwolves. I think without Rudy Gobert, I don't know how good of a defensive team they would be. They got a couple good defenders, but Rudy Gobert kind of makes a difference in that paint with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Who's your defensive player of the year?
I don't mind Rudy getting it, but I will say one guy that gets overlooked every season, and it's getting quite strange, is Bam Adebayo. I think that he covers so much ground and he makes up for so much on that team. He hasn't gotten one yet, and I think that's weird. So I think Rudy Gobert is a flashy name, and because he's so obviously good at the paint, but you can pull Bam out of the paint and he can guard the perimeter, So I was hoping that Bam would get some love, but unfortunately, he hasn't. Maybe on another team, maybe, it's kryptonite being a Miami Heat, but my vote was always Bam because I really like his game.
Yeah, maybe hopefully JF Cake didn't pay you on Cash App after saying Bam Adebayo right there. Shout out to JF Cake. So we did talk about most improved. You said Kobe White, and I said Jalen Williams, but I wouldn't be mad if Kobe White wins the award. Coach of the year, we both said the OKC coach, even though they already kind of announced it the other day. Executive of the year, we both agree Brad Stevens is going to be executive of the year. If he's not, I would be shocked myself.
I'd be shocked too,
yeah. Sixth man of the year.
That's kind of hard for me because my first mind was Malik Monk. I hope he's played enough games where he can still get that award. Uh, I no one really sticks out to me as much as Malik Monk. He's an automatic, you know. Um, he's like an automatic 18 points, 20 points. You know, he can give you that boost, or he can give you the loudest 15 points. You know, so I hope he can still win it. If he can, that's my vote for Malik Monk.
He played in 72 games this season, so I'm gonna go Malik Monk.
Okay, no, there you go. That's my choice right there.
Yes. Clutch player of the year. I said Steph Curry since he led the league in clutch points. But another person might get that award though. But who's your clutch player of the year?
I'd give it to Steph, but it's hard for me to give it to a lot of these teams or these players that are a part of like 10 seeds. Because it's like, how clutch are you if you're in the 10 seed? Like,
right,
what
right.
does clutch mean? You know,
And I agree.
just what does that mean? Like clutch points, but if it's leading to losses, how clutch are you? I think that award is ridiculous. How sometimes like how it comes out. That's tough, man. I would have honestly said Shea, but I think he's pretty clutch and he closes games well. So, out of the list you gave me to be realistic, I'll say Steph.
Yeah, and I'll say Steph because they're one of the hottest teams of the second half of the season, the Golden State Warriors, in terms of wins. So I will go ahead and I'll give him the Steph though. And then for our final take right here of the show, did you build an all NBA team?
All NBA team. I think I can say it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got Jason Tatum. I got Joker. Got Giannis. Luka. Shea. There you go. Yes. I was going blank. I've been saying his name the whole time. My head just went blank. Yes, Shea. I think that is the 5.
Yes, that's my first team. My second team, I said Jalen Brunson because he definitely needs some love after an incredible season he had. Anthony Edwards, Kawhi Leonard. Thank God for him being healthy this season. I enjoy watching him play, even though the Clippers kind of been up and down a little bit, but he still, makes the train going though. So Kawhi, Anthony Davis had an incredible season, and he played in the career high 74 games, and he's been phenomenal this season. I said, yeah, it is. And then it's kind of tough though, but I said Kevin Durant that had it's KD. KD is going to have a KD type of season, so obviously the big names is going to be in the all NBA. So, and then my third team all NBA, it was very tough. I'm going to say it was very tough because there was some names that is going to get left out, unfortunately, that should deserve to be all NBA. But I said Steph Curry. I said LeBron James. Everybody's like, why you got LeBron on there? I was like, well, LeBron's going to end up getting all NBA because it's LeBron James. I said that
as well.
Yeah, exactly. I said Devin Booker. It was kind of tough between him and Halliburton because I had Halliburton originally, but then I want to say it was just because of the injury. That kind of slowed his. Yeah, he kind of fell off a little bit, with the injury. And then in the second half, he just didn't really have like a great second half of the season, though. But they're still in the 6th seed, in the East, though. So yeah, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert, of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, you know, he's going to be your defensive player of the year, but he is a difference maker with that Minnesota team. And, you know, I mean, this one is going to be a back and forth, I would say, you know, but I said Zion Williamson. I feel like, you know, that Pelicans team has been very slept on, and then they kind of rised up in the charts. They were at number 4 at one point, and they kind of went back down to number 7. But Zion's numbers, you know, he had an incredible season, but you know, at the same time, you know, people been saying Domantas Sabonis because of just that incredible streak of double-doubles he had with the Sacramento Kings. So I wouldn't even go wrong if Sabonis made the third team, but fortunately I had to put Zion over him just because of just, you know, Zion's on a better team. So what do you think about the list?
I'd only argue one, and that's the one you just said, Zion. I just think that the reason New Orleans is actually doing so well and staying afloat, even with all the, you know, the injuries and stuff like that, and trying to figure out the roster, is the improvement of Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum. And even when you watch these games that they're doing so well in, I could say Zion has 25, but then I look and CJ McCollum's right there with 30. If you look, it's not always just Zion, you know, it's the others that's actually been playing very well. And it's a very energetic team. And Brandon Ingram has been solid when healthy. So it's hard for me to put them there because I truly believe that Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, CJ McCollum are actually the reasons why they are where they are today. And they have a chance to still make the playoffs. Sabonis is slept on. If there's no Sabonis, this team maybe wins 30 games. Maybe. I think 25 to 30 games if there's no Sabonis. He is offensively limited, and that's something I would hope he works on, but he is a double-double machine who can also be a triple-double machine. And that's a guy that's offensively challenged, you know? So I've seen him keep them afloat when Keegan Murray, I don't think Keegan Murray has been the best. I think it's a sophomore slump. Harrison Barnes, Herter has been, you know, De'Aaron Fox has been solid, not as good as last year, but really still really good. And then you have the high, like Malik Monk off the bench, that's your sixth man, but the starters, Sabonis keeps them going, like gets the rebounds, gets you second chance points. You know, he's hustling. So I think he's slept on too much. And I think that Zion is slightly overrated this season. I think people are just excited he's been healthy. So I'll give it to Sabonis because I think he's been hated on.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand your point, you know, about, you know, Zion just like kind of just the name right there. And yeah, not so much of, yeah, but he still, you know, still have a good season though. But like you said, Sabonis has been very slept on because he's not really like a flashy type of player, but the numbers prove to you that he's like an all NBA team. So it's going to be, and I don't think he didn't even make an All-Star team this season. So I mean, it's kind of crazy though. But I wouldn't mind seeing Sabonis in the All NBA. So him and Zion's going to be having that fight right there for that last spot in All NBA. So, but this is yes. This is episode 19 of the Celtics Rewind, talking all things Boston Celtics. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the play-in tournament and definitely enjoy the playoffs. We'll be back next week to talk about the Boston Celtics. And I'm JP the franchise. She's Nat the GM. And we'll see y'all later. Peace y'all.